Hey guys, it's Mark back again with you for a quick episode on blues, especially in the jazz context. How do you get away from playing your good old pentatonic ideas or your sort of rockish licks and blues licks you have, and how do you get away from strictly just looking at a blues form like this and try to make the changes like target the thirds, do the arpeggios and scales? So in this episode, I want to give you concrete, easy to implement solutions, starting with this iReal. I have it on the screen now if you're watching on YouTube. It's a blues in B flat. It doesn't get any simpler than this. That's blues 1. It's a good old 1 chord, going to a 4 chord, going back to a 1, and it's doing 5, and then it's going back to 1. It's the fundamental blues changes, 12-bar blueses, right? If you get into that form with the idea of just playing the targets, you're running out of targets because there's not a lot of chords. If you're going to this blues by thinking, I'm just going to shred on the blues scales, you're going to run out of steam pretty fast because you got to find stuff that's alternative to play. So that's my goal with this episode, just to give you easy to implement takeaway things for your improvisation. First off, more logistics. What I have on the screen is called the Blues 1 through 17 Aebersold Jazz Handbook. So Aebersold, I'm not affiliated, but he's found at jazzbooks.com. I have plenty of his play-alongs physically and digitally. He's a great publisher. And the Jazz Handbook was this thing that he gave away when you made a book order. And it's sort of a newspaper thing, and it's a free guide on what scales to use, how to play blues, like a lot of thoughts about being a jazz improviser, which records to listen to. It's just fantastic. And those are the blues chord progression variations, from all the way very simple to very, very complicated. You see on my screen, this is as complex as it gets. These variations are not all good in their own respect, and they're not like one variation might have something of like 3 or 4 variations. For instance, for me, maybe I'd pick that part out and put it on my regular B-flat blues, but not the rest. So to be taken with a grain of salt. I'll show you how to access this. If you're using iReal Pro, which I love, this is the software on which I put the backing tracks on, and you can, of course, control the instruments. I want more bass or more drums and piano, and the practice tempo, play faster or slower, different sounds and different styles. I want to do it bossa, right? It's all in iReal that I do that through my teaching. And sometimes the performance, if I happen to play alone, I will sort of cheat and put it on my phone in the background. So with iReal, you have access to the forums, which is the icon right here at the top left. And you also have that on mobile, by the way. And this globe icon leads you to the forums, which contain a whole bunch of play-alongs and lists. I will put the link in description to this, so you can simply search Aebersold Blues variation, and you'll find it's Aebersold 1 through 17. You can easily find it. And those are easy you just click one thing, and it will add it to your own library. So it's like, and this is free, by the way. This is not a paid. The software is paid, but the blues variations are not paid, which is excellent. So after you have that down, and I'll give you a concrete strategy to implement some of these changes. One of my favorite things to do as a jazz comper and improviser is to go further in the variations list and implement a thing like, I'll pick this one. So bar 4, we have an F minor. I'll do F minor 9 to a B flat, and maybe even a B flat 7, flat 13, or flat 9. So this is sort of a tritone sub idea if you want. So what I can do is on a more boring variation. So now this is blues 9, and they just get more and more and more complex. So while I'm on blues 9, I'll go back a couple blueses. And here, I'll use this one. So I'll use blues 6, and I'll comp for chorus. And I will do what I found here on blues 9. So on blues 9, remember bar 4, you have F minor 7, B flat 7. So while I'm on blues 6, I will myself superimpose that thing. And actually, let me take out the piano and give you the example of how it's supposed to sound. Ready? Watch out. Watch out, F minor. Yeah. There you go. Good. So that process of, we'd say it's not even a substitution, would be more of a superimposition. If you know your theory and look at blues 9, you'll go, well, that sounds like a 2/5 the key of E flat, and you're right. So we temporarily set up E flat as our 1 because that's where we're headed, and we put the 2-5 in front, right? So I can comp that easily. But guess what? While I solo over a simpler form of blues, and that's really the whole thesis, the whole point of this whole episode, I can still give you permission, if I may say it this way, to use that F minor 7, B flat 7 in one bar. So maybe you have a lick, like an arpeggio ascending lick, like F minor up, or maybe you have a arpeggio down from F, right? Or any sorts of variation. So let me just solo maybe 2 courses, and in this bar, where you would be just sitting on a B flat and go like, what do I play? Like maybe you'll want to play that, but if you want to go, that's the place where you can plug it. And what's the other one I said? Oh, that would be a third one. So this one, and the other one, and the other one. So let me do 3 courses and plug these exact 3 lines, while for the rest I'll just sort of comp and make the changes. Ready? Off we go. There it is. There it was. There you go. Good. So you see right there in bar 4, I fueled up first my comping, but then I fueled up my soloing with some of the basic ideas for other changes. So the thing is, probably the band is never going to play changes that are as complex as that unless it's been written that way you were actually playing the song. But those are all variations and options that are up for grabs in the moment, so they can fuel your improv. And they can only fuel your improv if you're aware they exist, right? So my recommendation is to work up on these blues progressions slowly, and while stuff is added, you go back and go, yeah, between blues 8 and 9, what is the actual difference? There's that one more change. Is there another way to get there? Yeah, what is he doing? Well, I'll give you another example that's easy to see, easier. It would be on just scrolling. This one would be easier to see. So blues 8 would be really easy to see. Maybe you haven't ever done that in your life. What we started to do with blues 6 is have an A flat. Cool. What's the A flat? Let me show on camera actually. So the A flat is a backdoor. Very common, like the post-bop era. Okay, and that's a way to get back to B. Cool. But maybe in blues 8, you haven't thought of that per se. Like instead of getting back to 1, which is a B flat, we get back to 3. Why? Because we do 3-6. What's that? Well, it's a 2-5 in C. And what's after? C minor. And then we do another 2-5. So these are, they're just two condensed 2-5 a whole step away. So let me just highlight these bars to make it super clear. Bar 7-8. 9-10 are 3-6, 2 and 5. And now look at that. That's the beauty of jazz. It's telescoping. So we got 3-6, 2 and 5. And now we have 3-6, 2 and 5, but twice as fast. And that's half of the blues form, right? So when you get around to improvising on blues, one of the things to do, again, is to add these changes that are not necessarily present, that still fit for variations, especially if you know the band's going to play a simple version like the 4th variation. You get to choose to play these things if you want, and if you hear them, and if the mood is right, and you know if you feel like it, and if it sounds right, you will play those. And also another interesting thing is to keep considering that all of this and more is available. So you're never really boxed into playing the actual changes because it's blues. Blues variations are plenty. Rhythm changes variations are plenty. And when you get into standards, like certain songs have known variations and substitutions that are common, but that would be a really good place to sink your teeth into. And my last tip for this is when confronted with a blues like this, like a really 4-5-1 blues, it's good to go at it with a plan. So for instance, and I'll leave you with that thought, what I could do with an easy, straightforward blues is to give myself a whole chorus or two to just feel the territory and play some major and minor blues licks. So again, the B flat major blues. And then the minor. This one is more well known, right, for in the rock and blues. Good. So I'll give myself a chorus, maybe 2 choruses of doing that. And then maybe in the third chorus, I'll go, well, let me maybe explore some of my arpeggios. Now, you will run out of gas pretty quick, I can tell you. Like on a B flat like this, you'll go like... And then going, I can't do that all day, right? Maybe I'll add a ninth. Oh, fancy. It's cool. But you'll run out of gas if you don't start to consider different ideas. So that's when I'll go, well, I'll do 2 courses of blues scales, 2 courses of arpeggios, but in the second course of arpeggios, maybe I'll give myself a chance to do, the stuff in blues 8, right? Maybe that one and that one. So the F minor 7, B flat 7, bar 4, the A flat 7 and bar 8. And you will see how it sounds against the regular straight ahead backing track. And actually, I'll add back the piano. I'll experiment with this. I'll play it live for you guys as a demo. This one. So I'll go back to blues 4. I'll do 2 courses of straight up blues licks, blues lines. I'll do 2 courses where I explore my arpeggios, and I'll be thinking of that in the back of my mind. Actually, let me simplify this whole deal even simpler for you. Check this out. I'll capture a screenshot. I'll put it below on the screen. This guy, if you're following on YouTube, you can definitely see that. So what I have in mind will be the stuff at the bottom of the screen. Like I'll follow these changes, but only in my mind, while the actual piano player is just doing that thing. He's just doing the straight up, like the sort of jazz blues with a G7, okay? And after 2 courses of blues lines, 2 courses of arpeggio lines, I'll do 2 courses of maybe scale lines and maybe plugging in my infamous thing that I did the 3 courses with the bar 4 and some altered scales maybe. And then that's 6 courses. That's what people say, well, man, I'm breaking a sweat. Like, I got to play. Let me do 138. I got to play 6 courses of solo. It's click. If you hit the play button, you'll see at the top, this is really cool. You see the time. Oh, it disappeared right here. If you see my cursor, you see the time. So it's like, I got a solo for 2 consecutive minutes and 11 seconds, and I just have a blues scale, and I'm trying to target the thirds. That's not enough materials. So now you have a plan. Blues scales, arpeggios, based off of this variation, and then scales and altered scales that are based off of that variation as well. And you'll see how much mileage you can get out of a really, really simple blues. You ready? Let me demo, and then I'll let you go. Blues licks. Arpeggios. Scales. Something like that. My bad, I sort of forgot of the existence of the A flat. I should have pushed this one a bit harder, but that's a beauty. It's a thing I've been trying to improve in my own playing on blues. Like, hey, there could be a backdoor in that bar. What's it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In bar 6, you could really do a backdoor. And eventually it just becomes part of your language. So you don't necessarily expect it, but you can sort of just hear it. And when it comes, it will just come. Another famous variation for that bar 6 is the E flat. E flat going to the E natural, like I put on my screen. So it's a diminished passing, right? So you do so E flat, E, then it goes to a variation of an F. Like there's definitely an F something happening here. That's why I say these variations are good, but they're not necessarily the golden standard. They're not the holy grail, because personally I would put that E right in blues 6, for instance. Like in blues 6, the thing that we only find out after several blues, what's the variation? So number 10 is the only time we have that E diminished chord, the sharp 4, in the variations, but it's a very common old school traditional variation. I would put it instead of the backdoor, which is more of the things I'm used to. But again, I don't want to sound like I'm making excuses. I hope you found this helpful, because there's always somewhere to go in terms of thinking logically about stuff that could belong there, that could be implicit within your lines or within your comping, that just creates a lot of variations without denaturing the fact that we're playing the blues. So I hope you enjoyed this. Please refer to the link in the description to get the Aebersold Jazz Handbook, 17 blues progressions, and get that in your iReal. Get started. Let me know if you have any questions. Like and subscribe on YouTube. Leave me a comment if you have anything you'd like me to tackle, or if anything you have questions about. Also, if you're listening to this on podcast, please make sure to rate the podcast, like give us 5-star and leave a comment. It really helps boost the algorithm. And also, if you share it with people you think might like it, it will really help. All right, I'll see you next time. Take care, guys. Bye.